Fun fact, pretty much anybody with a cell phone can start a YouTube channel. They don't even have to have any qualifications or experience. And they can choose to make videos on whatever they want, and they don't even have to actually be right. What's this got to do with the Sportster being sold to China? We're going to talk about it, and we're going to get to the bottom of that question. Hi, I'm Mike with Riding in the Ozarks. And before we get into this video, I don't normally do this, but we're going to establish my credentials as far as knowing what I'm talking about. So I've been riding motorcycles for 40 years. I've been riding Harley Davidsons for over 20 years. I have listened to every earnings call Harley Davidson has had for the last 4 years, since before Jochen Zeitz became CEO. Does this mean I know everything about Harley Davidson and I get everything right? Absolutely not. That's why a lot of times I say, this is what I think. I do get compliments. I get contacted by people from inside Harley Davidson and inside the motorcycle industry and Harley Davidson dealership network, complimenting me on getting things right, doing the facts, and not just making rage bait video titles that say Harley Davidson lied to us and they sold the Sportster to China. Now you can go look that video up. That creator has 400,000 views, and most of their content is on automotive, not motorcycle. But they chose to do a video on Harley Davidson selling the design of the Sportster to SHINERAY and the production tooling, and how they're upset they can't buy a Sportster and how Harley Davidson did us wrong. Now, if you're not really familiar with the Sportster, there's a few things we need to establish. Some more fun facts. Like, the first Sportster rolled off the production line in like 1957, and the last one in 2022. 65 years Harley Davidson made the Sportster. 65 years is a pretty good retirement age. A lot of people do it. Why should the Sportster be denied that as well? Well, because people love it. When it started rolling off the production line, 1,000, 2,000 units in the 50s. By the late 60s, several thousand units. 70s, I think they were in the 20,000 units. It's estimated that they've produced well over 1 million Sportsters. So a couple of people have made videos in the last couple of weeks, last month, about Harley Davidson selling the Sportster to China. And so now I'm getting a bunch of people coming over to my channel commenting on how Harley Davidson betrayed us and they sold the Sportster to China and the new CEO is a sell-off guy. We're going to get into that in another video. I'm not going to address that in this video, but I got some comments for that creator as well. Because I look at the facts and I have some experience with this, and they didn't do that. Besides the fact that I'm a Harley Davidson enthusiast, I worked in corporate America for 9 years. I had to fly to places like Chicago and Austin for board meetings and to talk to the CEO and CFO in a large company. We'll leave it at that, private industry, private sector. After that, I worked for a small business for 9 years, and now I work for a business that spends more money than Harley Davidson makes in a year. Now, I've been working with Harley Davidson for a few years now. I actually leaked some stuff about Harley Davidson, like when they shut down the manufacturing plant, the Road Glide 3, the Pan American 975. Harley Davidson has really tightened up the belts on trying to keep information from being leaked, but I do have contacts there now. They've invited me out for press rides. So we're going to get to the bottom of this SHINERAY thing with an official statement from Harley Davidson in just a second. But first, we're going to talk about how we got here, why I'm making this video. So in the video I watched that started all this, a guy did a Google search. He got results from AI, and the search was, did HD license the Sportster to SWM? It says in there, no. It says also that they sold the production, tooling, and the blueprints to SHINERAY, the parent corporation of SWM. And that's kind of the premise of his video. The problem is, this is Google AI results. And there's a little link button down there at the end of the paragraph, and if you click that, it'll show you the sources. But you can see in this screen grab, the sources listed over on the right. The comment that HD sold the production, tooling, and stuff to SHINERAY came from Reddit. Obviously, everything on Reddit's true because it's all comments made by individuals. There was also some other YouTube videos as sources. There were some magazine articles that were sources for the comment, but those magazine articles did not say that Harley Davidson sold this off to SHINERAY. The problem with AI is it doesn't do any research other than it just goes out and scans the internet for keywords that is in your search, and it tries to formulate an answer. But it doesn't know, and it's not got the facts. If you want a fun fact, you can add a 4-letter word that starts with F and ends with K at the end of your Google search, and you'll no longer get AI results. If you really want the facts and you want to see the sources for the answers, I highly recommend you do that. Or at least in the AI results, take time to read the sources of where it's getting this and take that into account before you tell people that this is what happened. Today's video is brought to you by Beyond Riders. If you're not familiar with Beyond Riders, they make Kevlar-lined riding gear. Hoodies, flannels, soft-shell jackets, jeans, all kinds of stuff. I wear their gear year-round. In the summer, I use a mesh shirt. It helps keep me cool. In the fall like this, I really like this flannel shirt, but they've also got a hoodie that I can wear in the winter. Beyond Riders also makes ultra-reflective gear as well, so if you ride at night a lot, that's a great way to make yourself more visible. As I mentioned, this is Kevlar lined, but you can also get it with level 1 or level 2 armor, depending on which option you choose. If you want to save a few bucks on your next purchase from Beyond Riders, use my discount code and link in the description below. And again, Beyond Riders, thanks for sponsoring today's video. Now, another problem I have with this video is the gentleman says that if he could buy an SWM produced Sportster, in the United States, he would do so. That SHINERAY Sportster is expected to be over $10,000 US. Okay? I'm calling bullshit because I can go out and do a search on Facebook Marketplace, set the minimum price at $8,000 and get a half dozen Sportsters that are less than a couple years old with less than 3,000 miles for less than $10,000 right now. So why would I want a Chinese-made Sportster with lower compression and less power than an American-made Sportster with 300 or 3,000 miles on it that is $2,000 less money and less taxes and less prep fees and all those other things? You don't have all those fees when you buy a used bike. So, and that price is probably negotiable because that's just what they're listing it at. So they're going to come down a little bit. So I call BS. If he's really upset because he wants to buy a Sportster, that's easy. They've made 1 million of them. Go buy one. Now, I'm not saying that they should or shouldn't have continued to make the Sportster. I know he says that Harley Davidson lied to us because they said they couldn't make it because of the European emission standards. That's true and false. Like I said before, I listened to all of the Harley Davidson business updates, investor calls for the last 4 years. And I have literally heard what the CEO said. And what he said was it was not cost effective to make the modifications to the Sportster to make it compliant with those regulations. Now, cost effective is a matter of opinion for Harley Davidson. In his mind, and what he has said is the Sportsters never made them money. And it's never made them money like the touring models. And don't think I hate Sportsters. There's one over there on the lift that we bought as a project bike. By the way, it's 25 years old, but we paid less than $1,000 for it, and it runs. It needs a lot of TLC, but it runs. So my point is, Harley Davidson did stop making the Sportster because of European emissions and their choice to not spend the money to upgrade that platform to make it compliant. Now, how can SHINERAY do it? Well, we just said SHINERAY is based in China. These bikes that would be sold through SWM, their subsidiary, would be made in China. Do you think the labor costs in China are a lot lower than the labor costs in the United States? That's another thing. If the labor cost is a lot lower in China than the United States, shouldn't this $10,000 motorcycle in the United States be a lot less than $10,000 in Europe being made by China through SWM? Feels like they're even greedier than Harley Davidson to me. Now let's get down to the facts. The facts are, I reached out to Harley Davidson about this. I asked for an official statement. It took them less than 24 hours to get back to me with an official statement. Now, it's not very long, but it gets to the bottom of this to some degree. I'm going to read this right off my phone. I got this in an email. Official statement. Harley Davidson has become aware of the SWM Stormbreaker, which appears strikingly similar to the Harley Davidson XL Sportster Design. Harley Davidson did not approve or license SHINERAY SWM and takes this matter seriously. Now, one of the things that people have said in the comments was if Harley Davidson is so happy for anybody that infringes on their rights, so why aren't they going after SHINERAY? This must be true because they're not going after them. Well, SHINERAY is based in China, which means you would have to go to court in China to win. Now, if they sold this bike in the United States, then they could go after them in the United States. Now, if you want videos that get to the bottom of things and that are about the truth and not about rage bait links where somebody sold to you and you should be mad and they sold it to China, then consider subscribing to my channel, Riding in the Ozarks. Again, I'm Mike, and I like to get to the bottom of things. And I very rarely do reactionary videos like this to another content creators. But when you guys come to my channel and you leave a bunch of comments on other videos that are not about the Sportster telling me this, well, I feel like you need an answer that is accurate and correct. So I went to the horse's mouth. We got an answer. And the simple truth is Harley Davidson is saying in an official statement that they did not sell or license or approve the use of the Sportster Design for SHINERAY or SWM. So believe what you want. Fact is, Harley Davidson is a publicly traded company regulated under SEC. They can't, well, I guess they could make an official statement that's wrong or inaccurate, but they would be subject to big fines from the SEC if they got caught doing that. In fact, the person who sent me this response ran it through legal first because they want to make sure they're covered and they don't say anything that's going to get them in trouble later. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to know more about the truth of the new CEO and if he's here to sell Harley Davidson, stay tuned. We'll have that video in the next week or two. And we're going to start getting into what we can expect for Harley Davidson in the 2026 models. Y'all stay safe, keep on riding, and we'll see you in the next one.